有一个很好玩的现象，就是说，在军事威权时代呢，政府有时候要对付那个反对分子，他不需要自己派情报人员或军警去处理，他自己底下就培养一些黑帮，其实跟那个国民党还有那个共产党都蛮像的，他会培养一些黑帮去修理那一些反对分子，或是制造事端来稀释掉社会大众对社会的注意。But this kind of phenomenon for this politician to use against for mobilizing this kind of politics, it changed after 1998 because of the new political aura. Something interesting happened. That is Islamization of militias. We also can find a shift of identity in the open political situation for Muslim politics. 也就是说，他开始民主化之后，伊斯兰的力量再度起来，然后这些传统的黑帮分子呢，好像你慢慢重新把穆斯林的认同把它放回来，所以一下子之间就出现了一些比较行动取向的一些穆斯林组织。For instance, we can find some Islamic organizations such as Islamic Defender Front and Hizb Tahrir, or we call it the Party of Liberalization. The first organization is a kind of militia of young, which attack anti-Islamic entertainment facility, and also has a close relation with security. They accept Indonesia as a republic country. But the second one is South Arabia supported Salafi, used to use the new chance to establish themselves. They reject Indonesia state, but address to establish a Khalifah in Indonesia. 那这两个组织它有一个差别，第一个就是它会找一些家里比较穷的穆斯林年轻人，然后有点给他们钱，或是参加类似帮派组织的这样一个形态。一开始是在雅加达会去砸夜店跟一些俱乐部之类的，那后来就转型，变成那个被政党所雇用去做社会运动，然后对付那一些他们那个穆斯林团体不喜欢的人。那第二个团体它比较受到阿拉伯的影响，它有点比较更保守，更加的主张要在印尼建立一个新的那个哈里发。这个在政治上是比较激进一点的。OK， so it's interesting to discuss about the relation between Indonesia president. How do they deal with this kind of radical or militant Islamic organization? Probably you can say there are two, generally speaking, there are two approaches. The first one is accommodation. The second one is to oppose them. For instance, ex-Indonesia president Pak Suryo, he actually in his second term, he changed his attitude to take a more supportive idea for this kind of conservative Islamic group in order to get their political promise and support. But for the current Indonesian President Jokowi, in the beginning he changed his the policy again. He tried to cut the linkage between government and the Islamic group. That's why this conservative Islamic organization feel unhappy about Jokowi. 那我刚刚要说的就是98年之后几任的印尼总统，他们对这些激进力量的崛起采取不同的政策。那有时候是加以笼络或是包容他们，有些是采取比较政治上跟法律上压制的手段。那上一任的总统这个尤多约洛总统呢，他可能为了要确保他的连任可以成功，所以他采取一个比较跟这些保守的穆斯林组织合作的态度。所以在这个过程当中，就无形让这个印尼的穆斯林的这些比较激进的政治组织呢，开始产生一个比较保守的转向。但是这个保守转向到了现任这个Jokowi总统这边呢，就遇到比较多的摩擦跟碰撞。但是有一个比较好玩的就是，Jokowi总统最近要选第二任总统，他找了一个比较 就是这个穆斯林学者咨商会议的这个主席来当他的副手，所以也看得出他也开始跟这些保守力量那个妥协，这是一个值得观察的现象。And then, this is one of the main topics I want to introduce today. It's about the Chinese Indonesian politician Ahok. Because he is a Chinese Indonesian Christian politician, you see he has a double marginal identity in Indonesian society. First, he is an Indonesian Chinese. Second, he is a Christian, double minority. During 2012 and 2014, he was the deputy governorship of Jakarta with Jokowi. And later, Jokowi became the president of Indonesia. Ahok take his position, become the governor of Jakarta. And actually, he tried to continue his governorship. But unfortunately, in the year 2016, he was offended by blasphemy and defeated by his election in the year 2017. Because at that time, there are several very big Islamic protests against Ahok. And finally, he was put in jail until now. But I think he will be released next year. Okay? So finally, recently I found out it's important concept to discuss about this kind of Islamic populism. 那这个伊斯兰民粹主义，我觉得这个翻译还是容易导致误解。但是简单的来说，伊斯兰民粹主义不是只有发生在伊斯兰，它也可能发生在美国，比如说川普。那台湾也蛮多的。我们用民粹主义来指责蓝跟绿的那个阵营，大家都同时有备用，所以这个词也是侮辱政治对手一个很好的措辞。所以在使用上要特别小心。但简单来说，它是这个样子的，就是说，它放在穆斯林社会，它可以说有一群在底层的穆斯林群众，他们觉得现在社会已经腐化了，然后这些很世俗化的一些政治的精英都在欺骗他们，让他们陷于一个非常不利的一个情境。所以现在他们要求把他们的公义跟道理把它要回来，然后他相信应该要建立一个非常道德纯洁的一个穆斯林社会。所以呢，基本上他会就走进一个比较保守的一个心态，认为我们应该是一个道德多数，不太接受这种比较开明的伊斯兰的这个诠释，所以它就造成一个比较麻烦的现象。那我的重点是觉得并不是说伊斯兰它本身就有一个保守的一个本质在那里，而是我们要看当代的印尼政治，这些世俗性的政治力量如何去操纵宗教，为他们的政治目标服务。所以在不同的时间点里面，虽然这个印尼的这些穆斯林的激进草根组织，它没有机会发展成一个执政党，但是因为这些政客的操纵跟利用，以及这个穆斯林认同的一个过度被强调，它还是得到机会，而且威胁到这个印尼的民主。Okay, so I think my next observation is to see what happened in president election next year. And the last thing we think about the essence of political Islam and some interesting issue regarding the neoliberal turn of Islamism. Okay, so maybe I stop my presentation here. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much to all two speakers. I'm just going to share a bit of my reflections listening to all three papers before I open up to the floor. We will have about 20 minutes of discussion time before lunch. The panel started a little bit late, so we will have 10 minutes extra time. The first paper on Maria Hertog's riots, it's interesting. Actually, all three papers are very interesting. We think about the wider implications, the more general themes that we can actually draw out from them. Well, I think in general, for all three papers, what I was struck by is the complexity of religion and politics. On one hand, a lot of time we see that the easiest way to report certain kind of riots or violence or religious activities is through the religious discourse. It gives a lot of appeal, it is sexy, and it allows the press to actually sensationalize the issue. So when you say that this is a religious riot, a religious violence, it gets a lot of press coverage. But in a deeper level, there are a lot of very complicated entanglement between that particular episode of violence and politics and competition for resources, economics, ideology, and also international and global trends. So I think all three papers have shown us how historically, as well as in contemporary Southeast Asia, a lot of these religious dynamics have to be read in this wider context. Now the first presentation of Maria Hertog case is interesting because it shows that religious identity is in many societies not a simple identification as what I identify myself as. It is not a simple choice of what religion I want to choose to be, but it is about how the community define you, how certain laws actually define and also regulate your identity, right? So in Malaysia case, the Maria Hertog's case, her identity is very much related to marriage and also certain rituals, and the complication with adoption, and also one other sensitive area is death rituals, so burial and things, funeral, it is very sensitive. The Maria Hertog case to the present day is still haunting Singapore. That Singapore still uses that case to silence any kind of discussion about religious difference and racial difference because it was something that was very traumatizing for Singapore. So the national discourse, the national narrative of the Maria Hertog case has always been that race and religion are sensitive, let's not talk about it, right? Even until the present day. A couple of days ago, there was a riot that was covered by some media in Singapore and Malaysia as religious riots that happened in Subang Jaya in Kuala Lumpur, involving a Indian temple called the Sri Maha Mariamman Temple. It was really about land dispute. The developer wanted to take away the land. The court has given the land to the developer who had purchased the land, but then a very historical temple has been located in that venue, and then the temple has been contesting the land ownership with the developer, and then the developer allegedly have paid 50 gangsters who happen to be Malay to go and instigate violence. So it caused deaths and injuries, and then a lot of damage to properties and cars and so on. And so that blew up to something that reminded people of the Maria Hertog case, right? For the first time in Singapore's leading newspaper, Straits Times, the Malaysian Sri Maha Mariamman Temple case was on the headlines of the whole full coverage in Singapore's Straits Times. That again shows us how sensitive this issue is in regards to race and religion. But Malaysia's Mahathir is very quickly dismissing anything to do with race and religion, right? Calling it as land dispute, calling it as gangsterism, and so on. So you see, the ways in which these are being approached by political parties is very interesting. And Frank's paper has shown us that at different political history, different historical period, the enemies shift. So we're talking about how religion can be easily used as a political tool by people for their own ends, by political parties for their own ends. right? At one time it could be colonial people might be the enemy, and then next time it would be nationalists and so on and so forth. So the shifting kind of enemies shows that perhaps religion is not the problem. Islam is not the problem. Islam, or religion for that matter, has just become a tool. I think Thomas' paper, again, brings us to contemporary Indonesia to get us to reflect on the complicated entanglement between religion and politics in Indonesian history, and then how that even in contemporary Indonesia has been continuing, right? And the different relationship between Islam and power holders, right? From Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono to Jokowi to Prabowo and to Ahok. So the next election in 2019 will be very, very interesting. So I'm going to stop here with my reflections and open up the floor for discussion. We have about 15 minutes. Yes, Prof. Nabil.
Thank you very much. I have a question for Don't. Don't provides us a very good historic account. He's a good historian indeed. And when you're talking about rebellion and the violence and the Islam in the history of, in the colonial history of kind of movement, and first I want to point out, in your statement you use Islamic politics and violence. When you use Islamic violence, it could be misleading that Islam itself is, in nature, is violent. So you should be careful. Yeah. Then come to the question is, the hero, Diponegoro, why as a peaceful mystic Sufi has to resort to violence to against colonial rule? Why? Could you explain that? Because I think at that time in the Islamic world, as Indonesia as part of Islamic world, there's a prevailing of a trend of Islamic revivalism starting from Wahhabism. That's very important. It's very influential because a lot of Indonesian Jawas, they went to Makkah, Medina, and in Arabia, they learned this kind of idea and took it back to Indonesia. So I think you can interpret a little bit from this kind of historic fact.
Okay, I'll answer right away and keep it brief so we can ask some questions. Basically, the issue, we have to be careful the way we understand Islam theoretically, and actually by scholars who study religion, you see that a lot. You have to tie that back to the reality at the time. So basically, Diponegoro might not be so interested in the fact that he knows that Islam is peace and all that, but actually it's or as a Sufi mysticist, he basically that takes second tier to the priority, which is a struggle for power, basically. So basically, Diponegoro at the time is unhappy with the situation and uses or tries to rally people around him, and because of that is clothed in some kind of shroud of Islam, but essentially you have to look beyond that and see it's just basically a struggle for power. So don't read too much into Islam. That's my point, actually, right? That Islam is used for these political gains or political fulfillment. So it's not so much. It's an abuse of Islam, basically. An abuse of Islam. Thank you. Maybe I'd like to add a little bit. I also wanted to comment a bit on Professor Siwai's point, and I quickly want to say that at the end of Khairuddin's paper, I also added some parts. I didn't get to it because of the time. And this is exactly the case that Siwa was talking about, where the temple issued, and Mahathir, just in the newspaper today, stated that the incident of the temple was not racial or religious in nature, but a criminal act which should not be given room to ruin the international relations of the country. And he also said that the government will not hesitate to take firm action. So, and there you can see his comments. It's in the news actually, just today. And basically the point that I tried to make by add that and connect back to the Maria Hertog case is that the government actually does play an important role, and it's important for the government to recognize that there's then basically three elements of you have to look at the carrot and the stick. The government controlling by using force. The government also controlling by offering incentives, but also, of course, the pen, the media, is nowadays in this world a very important role. So I think the British in Maria, the British government, Khairuddin's argument that the British really handled the case very poorly by bringing that lady and putting her in a convent. Whereas if they had acted stronger, better, in the sense of more considerate, perhaps the effect would have been less.
Any other questions?
One sentence. I think you have to look at the ideology, the Islamic ideology behind the rebellion of the because colonial rule is kind of secular. Maybe those people are restoring Islamic system of politics. Yeah.
Sure, but the peasants probably don't really realize that.
Okay, thank you very much for the presentation, interesting presentation. My first question to Professor Frank Don. You said this, is there any kind of evolution of violence? My question is, do you see any evolutions of the maybe characteristics of types of violence behind those violences that you have already mentioned? In what characteristics or what types of violences that you can get from those variations? Yeah, since in colonial time and independence, Japanese period, and up to today. And the second question, to Shingan, thank you very much for giving about the case of Hokkien support. My question is, what so far as you can see, what kind of Islamic populism is it? You said Islamic populism, yeah, is actually really used by the leaders, yeah, to what is it? To create solidarity among the Muslims that then they can be moved, yeah, to defend certain causes. Yeah? And then if you make a comparison with, I don't know whether you know the situation before Reformation, during Suharto's era, can you see any difference in terms of Islamic population in Indonesia with today? Okay, I think those are my questions. Thank you very much.
I have listened for your question. I think a decade ago, you also invited Professor Eddie to the first conference in the report. Okay. Yeah, very nice to meet you again in Taiwan. Okay, last time is in Georgia.
Yeah.
To be honest, I'm not an expert on this issue, but I just found that, during this kind of transition of a society or political system, actually, many things happen again. just present with different formation. Yeah, if we look back to Karl Marx, his comment on French Revolution, people are very smart to use all the social power with new political agenda to serve for their political purpose. But anyway, I'm quite curious about how can I find a balance to present this topic. Because in transmedia there are so many discussions about hope, but because of emotion, people say, oh, he is a hero, or he is sacrificed by this kind of sympathies. Even the takeaway in Taiwan also demonstrate support our hope in Taipei. It's interesting. Yeah. So thanks for your reminding. I think I will keep it in my mind and try to make a good paper for that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your question, Professor Hedy. Well, I think we have to take your keynote speech into account. To analyze that more systematically, you do really need to go back to those paradigms like you were explaining. And of course, that requires a very complex skill set. And this is the issue that we struggle with in the whole conference. Right? We have experts who are perhaps more in the field of religion, anthropology, sociology, history. We all have our own weaknesses and strengths. So for me to be able to simply say that's the answer, that's really hard. But what I did try to do and show was that if you look at this historical overview, you clearly do see that sparking by emotion that you still have with the riots, even in the temple that we saw just this week, and this mobilization factor, mobilization element. So the way that certain elements use or actually abuse religion to mobilize and spark the anger of people is a major issue in the case. And I do think a change is that now there is more access to media, and since the newer world, and this of course creates a larger field of mobilization. So whereas the riots or whereas problems were more smaller scale in the past, now you see the information of media and the lack of education also becoming an issue. That's why I mentioned that there's like the carrot and the stick for the government to control, but now also the pen to control through media. And this creates a whole set of problems that we've touched upon.
Any final questions? Or if not, let's not stand between lunch. But please join me in thanking the two speakers again. Thank you very much for this time.
好，谢谢主持人以及两位讲者。那我们早上的会议在此告一个段落。非常感谢各位的参与。现在开始到